never separate, but it seems the time has come that you run my life with no hope to fight, with no time to hide. And I'm sinking under, drowning faster, please just let me breathe. The air is leaving and I'm lost in need of you again. You break me down and you make me surrender. We are as Romeo and Juliet. To a code we all swore, for this life we have chosen. Armed soldiers to a common war we fight, and to this passion of love we may fair and die. I'm slipping further, we're falling faster, you're growing stronger. Less I grow weaker and I know. You break me down and you make me surrender. We are as Romeo and Juliet. Behind said Isaac said goodbyes. Will we fall back again? Live die as Romeo and Juliet.
Hey everyone, it's Stuart here, and I'm sorry for not uploading for a while. I've been busy working on my 747 kit that has arrived as promised and as suggested by the user Carsey, who suggested that I take on the 747 kit. And I didn't know exactly what kit he meant, but I found this one, which is a 1/144 scale kit by Revell. I bought it down when I was down in Cork 1 or 2 weeks ago, and I decided that it was there in the shop, so I thought I'd bring it home back here and get working on it. So a little about this plane. I am definitely very happy with this airplane in my opinion. In my opinion, this is definitely one of my best kits, one of my best large scale kits. It definitely made a huge step up from the A380 in my honest opinion, which, as you saw, was a bit of a disaster when it came to the landing gear. However, on a positive note, the 747 does come with its own stand, so I'm thinking about using this for the A380 and maybe rip off the landing gear on the A380, and hopefully that'll make the airplane a little bit more better. But in the meantime though, let's take a closer look at the 747 and see what we have here, shall we? Okay everyone, so what we have here, as I said, is a 1/44 scale kit. What we have here is the Boeing 747-8. This is the freighter version of the brand new 747-8, which there's two variants to it. There's the -8 passenger and there's the -8F, which this one is the freighter version. And this one here comes in the, as you can tell, it comes in the UPS livery, in which, in my opinion, the parts definitely looked very well. And also, it's definitely proven to be a lot more simpler to build than the A380 in my honest opinion. And also, another huge benefit to this is that I finally got the landing gear right on the A380. I mean, it definitely does look a bit. The wheels don't look very well painted, I'll admit, but I definitely believe it's a huge step up from the A380, as I said multiple times. Also, I thought I'd try something a little different with the kit. I decided I'd try another effect here where I paint just silver in straight lines and then rub it across the wings in order to try and give it that real scratched, smudged effect, like as if as if it was rained heavily multiple times in the airplane, and this is what's happened to the wings. I just thought I'd do that, try a little bit of an experiment to see how would it look on the 747-8. Also something else here is that I had to put on a little bit more weight at the front of the 747. You can get a closer look here. As you can see, I have put it on, actually no, but yes, as you can see here, I've put on quite a lot of washers on the 747. It's just that it's just that this kit was very big, and I didn't know I had to put on that little bit more weight on the airplane than I had to. I mean, it does look that bit ugly. Yes, it does ruin the 747 a little bit. However, though, generally it does keep the aircraft nice and flash on the ground, in my honest opinion. So overall, though, I am very happy with the 747. As I said, I definitely believe this is one of my best large-scale kits that I've made, in my opinion. And also, I can't wait to take this up to my room, where it will be where I can display this airplane proudly beside some of the other large-scale models. Not just large-scale models, but also the more smaller-scale models that I've made as well over time. But I want to know from you guys, should I go back and remake the A380, or keep the 747 as a big step up from the A380 instead of chasing my tail and trying to rehash some old information? That's something else I'd like to hear from you guys. Also, you might notice I'm recording on a different camera this time. I'm recording on a Panasonic HC V180. The last camera broke on me after I did something pretty stupid I did. Yes. I left the camera, I forgot to take the camera off the stand, and then when I was pushing my office chair back, the stand fell over, the camera hit the ground, and it broke completely. I was a bit disappointed at first, but I knew I could run in again and get another one. So as you can see, I'm recording on a different camera, and so far I'm genuinely enjoying it, and I'm also liking the camera as well. Now, one thing I like to hear back from you guys is all the feedback and the comments I get on this video, whether it's harsh, or whether it's constructive, or whether it's positive. It helps me, keeps me motivated when making models like this one. Especially this one comment here, in which I want to take the time to address publicly. Yes, interesting point there, kind sir. Now, let me say this much before I get into the comment. I just want to let you know, scale modeling on this channel is what I do as a secondary kind of thing to my metal covers, which I have as my primary content. And the reason why I do these kind of videos, like scale modeling, is to get help from experts who have more experience in the hobby than I do. So that way I get better, and also using the equipment that I have, or even try new equipment that may help me at this hobby. But I want to ask you a question there, sir. If a chef didn't make the meal correctly the first time, or any time, and he or she didn't made it to a point where no one could eat it, would you tell them to give up? If an artist made a pretty dumb mistake with a painting, would you tell him or her to give up? If a gardener planted the seeds into the flower bed, but he or she didn't put the right amount of water on the plants, would you tell them to give up? You see, there's this thing called experience. We all learn something just by doing it, and that is the same thing here with scale modeling, for example. It's one of those hobbies where you just have to keep at it until finally one day, like what's happened to me here, you finally make a model that you could be genuinely proud of. Even if it's not perfect, you could still make a model that you could still be very proud of, no matter what people say to you. And this is another thing here. Over multiple times in these scale modeling videos, I have freely admitted that I am not the best at scale modeling. There are people out there better at it than I am. And the reason why I show you the mistakes I made is to show other people what I've done, so that way they don't make the same mistakes that I have made, and that it helps others, and it helps me, and it gets help, and I get help of people who have more experience at the hobby than I do. So that way, when it comes to projects like this, it's something that I can be genuinely proud of. At the end of the day though, we are all human and none of us are perfect. We can never make something 100% perfect unless you're someone who has genuinely been at it for a long time and you know what to do whenever you make a new model yourself. So that's all I wanted to say, guys. Sorry about bringing up that comment. It's just something I wanted to publicly address and to hopefully teach you guys something about experience and what it's like to practice and keep practicing and the benefits it provides when you keep practicing. But join me in my next episode of Scale Modeling, where we're going to be traveling back to 1945 to one of Hitler's top secret weapons of World War II. That is a Messerschmitt Me-262. I bought this airplane up in Galway. Yes, I went back up to the Diecast Models for You hobby shop in Galway. There was different people there this time, but they were still just as nice as the last guy that I was there with. And the guy up there in question asked me, did I do these before? And I said yes. And I was talking to him a little bit about the Messerschmitt 262 and about them being part of the first generation of jet aircraft that came just at the end of World War II. So look forward to that one now, guys. It's going to be a good one. But until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
There's a long road just behind you. Everything else comes so fast. Memories are all inside you, and you never